Hello, we welcome you to another session on our R language primer. In today's class, we'll see the data structure called data frames. R has a number of data structures, and one of them is a data frame, which we could compare to a structure of a table in a database, or we could think in terms of a small file having rows and columns. So it should be quite easy to visualize after our lessons on arrays and matrices. Understanding the data frame would be very simple. Each column has the value of a single variable, and it's called a field, a column, and each row has one set of values for each of the columns, which we will call as a row or a tuple. So there are some rules which have to be followed for a data frame. The column names cannot be blank, they have to be given. The row names should be unique, so we'll have some unique identifier identifying the rows. The data can be of different types. Each column can be of different types, so we could have numeric, factor, etc. And each column should contain the same number of data items. So it's more like a table structure where everything is very orderly and well defined. So our first example is to create the data frame, where we have taken the employee ID, the values 1 to 5. Employee names, we have taken 5 names, they are enclosed in double quotes, Ashok, Bittal, Charles, etc. We have taken some numeric values for the salary as a vector, and join date is as date, and we have given the different dates for each of those different employees. And strings as factors we have given as false. You know what factors are from the earlier lesson. We are not looking at them as factors, we are actually looking at them as data. So when we display the data frame, you can see that each of those column names is at the top, employee ID, employee name, salary, join date. We have the records 1 to 5, and we have the various data field contents. The same code is there in the RStudio. You can see on the window on top, and the output is shown in the window below. Now we need to also display the structure of the data frame in certain cases. So we see the structure is displayed by the function str. So we have the same data structure created, employee data, ID, name, and join date, and so on, salary. And instead of displaying the content of the data frame, we are displaying the structure of the data frame using the function str. You can see that we are the first thing it tells us is the name of the frame. It says there are 5 observations, and each observation there are 4 variables. So the names of the variables are given below. Employee ID, their integer, employee name, character, salary is numeric, and join date is date format. And the same example has been shown to you in the RStudio. The code is in the window on the top. The output is on the window at the bottom. Now we can also display the summary of the data. We all know that R can do statistical processing. So we can take the data, summarize it, and display it. We have the same example, same structure is being created. But when you come to the output, display the summary, we said print, the function summary is mentioned with the data frame name. Now we see that for each of the fields, it has showed us the minimum, the first quartile, the median, the mean, the third quartile, and the maximum value. Since we know that the employee numbers are 1 to 5, we know the minimum is 1, maximum is 5. We are looking at the first column. First quartile is 2, median 3, mean 3, and third quartile is 4. Employee name being character, there is no quartiles there, it's just what is the length, what's the class, and what's the mode. Again, salary being numeric, you could see that the values of the quartiles and the median and the mean have been calculated. And join date also, we have the mean, we have the median and the first and the third quartiles. The same example is there in the RStudio. You can see the window on top for the code which you saw in the slideshow, and then the output is shown in the window below. You can extract data from a data frame, and here we have the same example again. We are creating a same data frame we created earlier, but this time instead of displaying the whole frame, we extract specific columns. So we are going to say from the data frame, we are going to take employee data emp underscore data $emp underscore name, which is the data frame name and the field name or the column name. Again emp underscore data $salary, which is again the column name or the field name. Now let's see the output. You could see that we have the same thing, but only we have picked up two columns, the employee name and the employee salary. You can see the same example in the RStudio. The window on top has the code and the window at the bottom has the output. Now we want to have an example to extract a specified number of rows. So in this example we are specifying the first two rows. The same structure is created as a data frame. But in the output, we are going to say we want emp underscore data, that's the second line from the bottom, emp underscore data, and we have said 1:2 and a comma, which means you have specified the row values as 1 and 2. You have not specified a column value, so all the columns will get displayed. So when you go to the output, you can see that we picked up the two records, but for each record we have all the fields or the columns. The same code is shown to you in the RStudio. You can see the code in the upper window and the output in the lower window. Now we change the example to extract the second and fourth column for the second, third and the fifth row. The rows are 3 and 5. The columns are 2 and 4. So if you look at the example, we have created the same data structure, the data frame. But when we come to the extract the output, we are talking in terms of emp underscore, that's the second line from the bottom, emp underscore data. C is the function to create this data. So we have said 3, 5 and C 3, 2, 4. The first argument 3, 5 specifies the rows, and the next one 2, 4 specifies the columns. So on printing the output, we should get the name and the join date, which is the two specified fields. And we also find that we can run the same program in the console RStudio. We'll have the program in the top window and the output in the lower window. You can add rows and columns to a data frame. So we create the data frame as usual for the first part of it, creating the data frame. The second comment is add a column called location. So you take the employee data $location, assign to it the word factory or whatever location you want to go now, factory, client, etc., client site. Then you store the structure and you print it out. You could see in the last column, we have got a new column called location, which is filled with various things like factory, factory and so on, a client side and so on. The same code we can see on the system. In the R interpreter, we have got the code in the upper window and the output in the lower window. You see that we have the same results. You can also add rows to the end of the data frame, and the function used is rbind. The row layout should be identical. This is a rule in all the data frame content or categories. So we create the names with that annual salary and so on. And then we create the second data frame, which is called additional data, where we have some other piece of information. We got the name, etc. And then we also have the join date. And when we come to the actual printing of the contents of this data frame, we have specified that the rbind function temporarily binds all those different parameters together. And so we now see in the output that we get the employer ID, the employee name, the salary, the join date, location. We have got the same data but with the new column added, and we can see the same program in the R console. RStudio, you could see the program on the window on top, and you can see the output in the window below. We thank you for attending another of our classes, lectures. We request you to give your valuable feedback at the email given below. Feel free to contact us if you need any clarification. Thank you.